Have you ever found as a composer that doing music that was for film and TV, kind of music to order, did that make you feel any less good about being a creator, a songwriter, a composer? Did you ever feel like, wow, I'm kicking it down a few notches and doing crappier music?
No, absolutely not. In fact, quite the opposite, because if you're writing for what the client needs, it forces you to learn. It forces you to learn different techniques. It forces you to maybe learn, like I did in my beginning years at Taxi. I would try genres that I had never done before. In fact, I did one piece of EDM music. I had never done EDM music, and if I look back at my PRO statements, that particular piece of music is probably my top earner historically,
Wow.
and it's not even a genre that I work in. So if you push yourself, then happy accidents will happen, let's say, but you're learning different production techniques, you're learning different styles, which then just adds to your overall knowledge as a producer, as a composer, as a musician. Um,
And as
uh,
as an engineer and producer as well, because that's a hurdle for a lot of people. They're not that good with their home studio stuff, whether it's Logic or Pro Tools, what have you. Um, did you find that you got to be much more efficient in how quickly and how well you operated your studio from having to do stuff, and turn it around quickly and do a lot of it? Consistency makes you better, doesn't it?
yeah, absolutely. And I found that working to deadlines of those urgent briefs or listings um, really made me a better producer. And I ended up creating music that not in a million years I would have imagined something like that could come out of me. So being under the gun of the deadline and following what the listing said really forced me outside of my comfort zone, which then made me more comfortable in general with the demands of the industry. Which brings me to the other point, is that sometimes um, people in the industry are going to ask you for changes.
Right.
So as a music licensing company, when we receive music even from our own writers, we often ask for changes. Um, and that does not mean the music isn't great. It just means that we have a way that we understand that um, if with some slight changes, it can be that much more usable to the client. Um, because ultimately the goal is to take that piece of music and make money from it for ourselves and for the composer. It is the music business. So if we can make a piece of music much more usable to an editor, we will ask for that change. And so as a composer and as an artist in this industry, you have to be open to requests for changes. You can't think that, oh, they are criticizing the way that I did it. I feel that this is the best way of how it should be formatted. I love it this way. That's fine. And we probably love it as well. But we're also trying to make it so that our client can use it. And oftentimes I'll hear a piece of music and think, wow, I would love to listen to this music for pleasure. And oftentimes I do. I'll take songs from our artists and add them to my own personal playlists, and I will listen to them in the car, and it's part of my soundtrack that I listen to um, as a music listener. But then when it comes to the actual business, I may ask for changes that will make it more usable for the format that we see it working in.